Here we are. We're back with the Vacuous Perspective. I'm Val, and I'm joined always by Nate. And Nate, we just usually come in here, talk some smack, clock the hours in, and then GTFO the hell out of here. But
GTFO.
yeah,
Get the fuck out of here.
yeah.
Okay,
so that's the usual vibe. It's going to be a bit different this week because we're gonna do a couple of things. We're going to sort of put our last predictions in for the presidential race in the US, which is going to be next week, I'm still thinking about having an episode on Wednesday live, just looking at results and just hanging out for a bit. Maybe we can do a live thing next Wednesday, potentially.
About that, am I invited to that?
We haven't talked about it, but yeah, you're principal.
Okay.
You're the principal cast.
Great.
So if you can come along, that would be really handy.
Because we're about 12 hours behind, right?
Yeah. The East Coast, yeah.
I'm just trying to think how it works logistically. So say we start at 8 p.m. The voting has just got underway over there?
No, man,
it'd
be like, no. It'd be the entire of Wednesday will be election mode. Like the entirety of Wednesday. In fact, we might come to the party way too late. If it was 8 o'clock, we get on. It might be all over.
Because I remember the last US election, actually, now that we say it, is the counting seemed to have started when I left work in the 5 p.m. or whatever. And then I went to bed and it looked like, although it wasn't certain at all, it looked like Trump was heading for a win. And I'd probably go to bed at like 10 p.m.
This was in 2016?
No, this is 2020.
Oh, okay. So you thought Trump was going to win when you went to sleep that night, and then you woke up. And
I thought it was most likely, and then the postal votes came in apparently, and it quite skewed the metrics a little bit more than they expected anyway.
They always expect postal votes to lean to the left, though.
No, definitely.
Yeah. So we'll get those predictions in. We won't do that just yet. Other stuff.
Yeah, okay, we'll deal with that later. Yeah.
Other stuff. Yeah, we can talk about the logistics of how next week's going to work a bit later. We don't need to bore the viewers with that too much.
And what we'll do
is we'll get together.
True. And we'll save our actual predictions for the end of the episode. We'll dangle that carrot.
Oh, you're going to dangle?
We'll dangle it because they can't fast forward. You're not allowed to fast forward to the end.
Right. They can.
But you're not allowed. No, I'm watching. I'm paying attention.
Okay, so there's that. I don't know if anything else is going on.
I take little notes through the week. I take some notes to myself about things that interest me. So,
I mean, you'd have a few things that
I've got something that happened.
Yeah. Well, this is a recent development.
Well, apparently, it's just a link to an article, but it's artwork of banana duct taped to wall, estimated to sell for more than £1 million.
How does that work with moving the object? Because obviously the banana being stuck to the wall in the gallery and having a plaque attached to it saying, hey, this is the banana that got stuck to a wall. I mean, it belongs to that very, very specific kind of art, which is total horseshit. Do you know what I mean? It's the blank canvas with the red dot art in the middle, and people go, that's genius, when really you're just dealing with someone who's probably quite lazy. Yeah, does it say a point? Does it have a point about society or art or whatever? Maybe. Who cares?
Maybe.
Who cares?
I care. They say, if I'm going to play devil's advocate here, that they're redefining art.
Wow.
I don't know if I can get off on that.
Yeah. No, they're just getting rid of unwanted junk. Stick a banana on the wall.
Yeah. I haven't looked into this, but I would have thought you have to move the wall around. I saw a picture of it.
You'd have to move the entire wall. So are you saying that the wall is now art?
Well, if the banana is duct taped to a wall and that is the artwork...
the wall is part of the artwork, yeah.
But from gleaning the article, I think this thing's moved around. And is it a real
banana? They just bring the banana and a bit more... Do they replace the tape? Is it the original tape?
I don't want a filthy banana.
No, the artist is going around and sticking fresh bananas, right? It's got to be a freshie.
A freshie?
Yeah, fresh one.
Okay, local. So the controversial artwork, as it always is, it's called Comedian by Maurizio Cattelan.
Did it start as a joke? Did he just stick it on the wall of a gallery and someone went, that is fucking brilliant? Because I remember seeing memes about it where you see a banana stuck on the wall and it's a bit of a meme.
Oh, really?
It's like, here's art. But it could have just been someone having a bit of a joke.
I just realised I've blown a huge opportunity.
What do you mean?
I ate a banana this afternoon.
Yeah, you could have been. Well, no, but you're missing the point. You can stick
I just
anything.
ate it.
You can stick anything to the fucking wall.
No, it's got to be a banana. This is the
Doesn't-
only item I know if you duct tape it to a wall that you get £1 million for.
I've always said that I actually know how to make a viral video. I actually already know how to do it. You know what I mean? I could do it tomorrow if I was willing to sacrifice my dignity. That's number one. I don't, because that is the required sacrifice.
Are
dignity.
You willing?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
Because I still have my whole life ahead of me.
I would sacrifice.
I don't want to be known for as that guy forever just because I wanted a few clicks.
I would sacrifice the lion's share of my dignity for a few clicks.
Okay, well, you might want to wait till you hear what the story is. Oh. But here it is, right? First of all, you make a YouTube video. Because if you type into YouTube, guy shits himself, you get like 1 million. You get like 1 million results of people pooing themselves.
Everyone's done that.
But there's a very important fact or something that's missing, a parameter that's missing from that makes it stand out. It's your banana on the wall. It's my banana on the wall. It takes very little effort. You just have to add some words in. Man shits himself on purpose. Zero results. Zero results. So you get your camera, you sit down in front of it on a chair, and you say, hello, my name is blah, blah. Tell him your name. And then you go, and today I'm going to be shitting myself on purpose. Like I'm just going to poo my pants right now.
There's got to be porn that does this.
No, but this is not, I'm not talking about pornography. It's not pornographic.
But
there's no sexual nature to this.
Yeah, but I reckon so maybe there's no, if you got like safe search.
What do you mean? What do you mean you think there's a porn? Everybody knows it.
No, I think there's a guy shitting. Just on purpose. I reckon there would be a porn video where a guy just sits down and goes, hello.
I'm not talking about a porn video, for fuck's sake. I'm talking about something you can upload to YouTube tomorrow. I'm not talking about something that... are you going to get paid for your poo video on some random dodgy-ass website?
Probably.
Yeah, no.
Man, some guy contacted a girl that works with my wife out of the blue and says, hey, can you send me some photos of your feet? I'll send you $75.
I know how the internet works, man. I know. I've been around the block. Okay. I know there's all sorts of weird creeps out there. I know OnlyFans has existed for forever, and people spend $1,000 on feet pics.
I know you know stuff. I'm telling you.
Why are you gearing this sexually? I'm just telling you that I could shit myself on purpose on a chair. No nudity.
Yeah.
There's no. You don't even see the bum. You don't even know if I've done it. You see nothing. I just tell you that I'm doing it. I look dead at the camera and I say I'm shitting myself on purpose, and nobody's ever done it before. Nobody's ever done it before. People have done it by accident, and it's funny. But if you did it on purpose, that's where the art comes into it.
Himself on purpose? Have you actually done that?
Yeah, of course. Oh. And it'd have millions of hits. It would have millions of hits.
Yeah, I'm just going to check. I'm going to go to Google, YouTube, and himself.
So did she sell the feet pics or not?
Yeah, so her boyfriend just took a photo. Her face didn't have to be in it. She could just be sitting on a chair with her feet on a...
How did he find her?
I just found her on Instagram, just came across her.
Saw a photo of her feet
around
and went, oh, they're nice feet.
No, just saw her, didn't see her feet. Just said, confused. Can you send me a photo of your feet? Sent her $75 first. So she was like, all right, well, here you go. And he said, fantastic. I'm a willing buyer of more feet pics in the future, so keep me in mind.
Yeah, okay.
And he asked her, do you have any friends?
Of course he did. He's a fucking weirdo.
I was like, this is free money. What happens if I just take pictures of my feet?
You can.
Yeah. $75.
Yeah, this is the dignity part.
But my face isn't even in it.
Doesn't matter.
Am I losing any dignity?
Dignity's not something you lose in the eyes of others. It's something you lose in your own eyes. It's how you view yourself. Would you feel good about that though?
No. I'm just for the fun of the
money,
for the fun of the argument, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not taking pictures of my feet, but
no. But like you're saying,
I've done less. I've done worse for less before.
I don't think that's a good metric to go off.
Sometimes it's a bit of fun, you know. Okay, so New York City NYC homeless man poops in mop bucket. Okay, yeah.
That doesn't sound like what we're talking about here. That just
He's
sounds like
just-
what homeless people have to do in New York City.
He's just popped a squat.
It's not really shitting yourself on
the
purpose.
person mopping isn't too happy about it.
I wouldn't have thought so. Now, you're going to have a lot of poo videos. There's a very famous MMA one where a guy just lets it rip and it comes out of his like pants and falls on the ground. It's pretty embarrassing. You don't want it to. This is the thing. It's a very embarrassing thing that could happen to somebody.
Not if
yet,
you
if you did it
like
on purpose,
yeah.
If you do it on purpose, you look dead at the camera, you do it quite seriously, like a piece of art. Here is my art. And then you can release the next week. You can release the apology video.
Version.
No, the apology video.
Oh.
Which you say that
like
you never actually shout
Beetroot
yourself.
version.
No, you lied. You lied for internet clout. You go out and you have an apology video. And you say,
destroyed, wouldn't you?
No, you just say, I'm really sorry. You just tell the truth. I'm really sorry. I didn't actually shit myself. I was literally doing it for a bit of an internet experiment. So I'm really sorry. That video then pops off, gets millions of views.
At the end of the video, then you accidentally shit yourself.
Well, no, then you come back the next week and you do another apology. You do another apology the week after for the apology, saying that you didn't really get everything out and that there were some lies in the apology and you're really sorry about that now. And then you can maybe put out the feelers on an incentive. Say if this video gets 10 million likes, I'll actually do it live on YouTube or something. I'll do the poo thing live properly.
Now you're a celebrity.
Proof. Yeah. And then you use that as a
leverage.
This is the problem though. Now you're forever known as the poo guy or the apology poo guy. And that's the dignity part. That's the part that you have to sacrifice forever. You know, because that's what got you there. It's gross.
Apology poo guy could become climate activist that's
made a president as well. Or prime minister or whatever.
Like Donald Trump's a great example.
Great example. Perfect example. Really. Yeah.
Okay, so the comedian.
Yeah, the banana thing.
Yeah, it's going to auction, and experts saying the public will decide its true value.
That's usually how an auction works. I don't know. That's strange.
The work divided art fans and critics when it made its debut at the Art Basel Miami Beach show in 2019 and has since been eaten twice. Once as part of a performance art piece called Hungry Artist.
Fucking hell. Now they turn the bullshit art into spin-offs of more bullshit art. You got an artist who's like, I got a fucking good idea. I'm going to eat the banana.
That was inevitable. That was always going to happen. And then it was again eaten by a hungry student who taped the peel back to the wall. What?
Oh, what a legend.
The peel back.
So he's got the banana peel. He's eaten the banana. He's popped the banana peel up. Yeah. Okay. So I need to know something about this artist. Is there a Wikipedia for this Joker? I need to know if he's done anything else and whether or not it's just a cucumber on a wall.
Maurizio, you can look up the artist, Maurizio Cattelan. So Maur.
All right. Yeah, Maurizio, like Maurizio Shogun Hua.
I guess so.
Yep. And
Cattelan. Cattelan.
Wow. It's not how I would have spelt it. Okay, so he is the Banana Man.
That's
as far as I'm
Eric
concerned.
Is the Banana Man.
As far as I'm concerned, he's the Banana Man. He's got a sculpture of depicting a fallen pope who has been hit by a meteorite. That's pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
There's a bit more in that than a banana duct taped to a wall.
I completely agree. This guy's a real artist.
Wow, he's legit.
I reckon he just left his banana one time and maybe maybe just didn't. It's an unintended piece of art. Perhaps.
I might just do this at home. Just tape a banana to the wall. Someone comes in and goes, "Mate, what's with the banana?" And I'll just go, "It's art."
Oh, it's actually one of Maurizio Cattelan's works.
It's actually it's a.
So you'd be like, "Yeah, I bought it. I bought the thing from the auction. It's Maurizio Cattelan's The Comedian."
It's my best impression of The Comedian.
No. You just tell people it is The Comedian. They're not gonna be able to tell a fucking difference. It's just a banana duct taped to a wall. Just tell them it's the real deal.
Okay, prior to the auction, the work will embark on a world tour, starting off with a one-off exhibition in New York on October 28, before heading to London, Paris, Milan, Hong Kong, Dubai, Taipei, Tokyo, and LA. Okay, so speaking about the piece, David Galperin, Sotheby's head of contemporary art for the Americas, said,
"Big it up, yeah, prop it up."
The most influential and
Wow.
radical artworks of the last century have had the power to fundamentally shift perceptions around the nature of art itself. In this spirit, Comedian is a defiant work of pure genius, balancing profound critical thought and subversive wit. This is a defining work for the artist and our generation.
Fuck off.
With a single brilliant gesture,
Yeah.
Cattelan rocked the foundations of the art world and brought art to the center of mainstream popular culture.
I'm starting to come around to it. Hey, I'm starting to come around to it. All right, keep going.
If at its core, Comedian questions the very notion of the value of art,
Yeah.
putting the work at auction this November will be the ultimate realization of its essential conceptual idea. The public will finally have a say in deciding its true value.
You know, I think, art is a bit like beauty. It's all in the eye of the beholder. What I take from the art, and that's important. It's not just important what the artist's intents were, but it's what art moves, me to emote, right? And the feelings that I get from this particular piece of art is not that it was something that was meant to bring into question the value of art, but maybe it's a bit of a self-dig at art, saying art's a bit bullshit, isn't it, these days?
Not the first one to
No, but that's what I take from it. And in that way, I put it up there with the Sistine Chapel in terms of proficiency, in terms of artistry, in terms of sheer artistic talent, which you can't measure. You can't measure artistic talent, and this guy has it. Clearly. He has some amazing ideas. Oh my God. He's the one who made the solid gold toilet called America. I'm not even lying. That's actually a well-known piece of art. It's a golden toilet. Anyway, he's done that one. He's done the Comedian. He's done the Fallen Priest Pope one. And here's a very interesting little side note. You mentioned earlier that as part of an art performance called Hungry Artist, an artist by the name of David Datuna ate the banana. You did mention that. In probably unrelated, he died a couple of years later. Unrelated to the banana, probably.
I was just looking up America by Cattelan. Artist, you're quite right. Year 2016. Yeah. It's a gold sculpture. Condition, lost.
Mm-hmm. Didn't they find it?
Well, Cattelan said he's made 3 gold toilets.
Yeah. 4 men charged over theft of £4.8 million gold toilet. 4 men have been charged over the theft of a gold toilet valued at £4.8 million, which vanished from Blenheim Palace in an overnight raid in September 2019. So someone went, cool toilet, I'll have it. Yeah, he made a few. So that's 2016. That's got to be a Trump thing. It's got Trump's face in the toilet.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like a 2016. It's a bit of a election hit piece. 18 carat, fully functioning, golden toilet, fully functioning. It functions. Someone's had a shit in that.
On this Wikipedia article, they've got other gold toilets at the end. In 2019, the Hong Kong jewellery firm Coronet displayed a gold toilet in Shanghai. This toilet had a bulletproof seat containing more than 40,000 small diamonds.
Yeah, 40,000 small diamonds in a toilet.
Why do you make a toilet seat bulletproof? I'm trying to think of a situation.
Get down! There's nothing worse than while you're having a shit, you get shot to pieces. That is the worst. And now, yeah. So I think it's so like if you're having a shit, right, and gunfire starts erupting, you can fall off the toilet to the side and get behind it. It's completely bulletproof, made of gold, and it's got fucking 40,000 diamonds in it. Bro, they're shooting the toilet to get all the diamonds off. They want the diamonds. Oh my God.
I think, did they try and loan it to the White House?
Yeah, it went to
England.
No,
sorry. In 2017, the museum declined a White House request to loan its Oh, sorry, that's something else. Okay,
Wow.
I thought the White House wanted the toilet.
That would be pretty funny.
Oh, and the curator of the museum where the toilet was offered to loan America instead. Any reply by the White House was not reported. So the White House wanted some Van Gogh painting, and they were like, "No, but you can have the
you can have the golden toilet."
I would have taken that for sure.
You're talking about Trump though. You're talking about Trump's presidency. So prob's not. He wouldn't go for that.
I thought you'd get some good
anything with his face on it. Just get it.
Yeah.
Anything with his, especially if it's made of gold.
Yeah, it's made of gold.
It's an attack though. That's not what he's about.
If you lean into it and just own it and go like, yeah, mate, people making gold toilets with my face on it. Maybe.
You know, there was a movie that's just come out. The Trump campaign were actually trying to stop the movie from coming out. It stars Sebastian Stan as Donald Trump. And you might know Sebastian Stan if you ever watched any of the Marvel McCoo Cinematic Universe films. Also, he looks exactly like Mark Hamill from Star Wars days. So like the notion that they even recast some guy or they used a face replace to do the young Luke Skywalker, they really should just got Stan, even though they're pretty much... He's like 50, you know, but he just looks great. Anyway, point is, there's a movie that got made about Trump sort of, it's called The Apprentice. Now, you might think it's called The Apprentice because Donald Trump had a TV show called The Apprentice, and he's also alludes to in his books and other things on how to get rich and all this sort of rubbish, is all about sort of, you know, you're his apprentice in that respect. And The Apprentice is about him hiring the best person for the job so they can take over part of the business sort of thing. That's the whole point. But it's actually in reference to this guy who mentored him, this fucking hardcore criminal lawyer in New York called Roy Cohn. And it goes into their relationship and how he sort of built him up to be a bit of a scary boy, you know, and a bit of a hard businessman, if you like, but a rough dude. You
Roy
know,
Cohn's protege.
Yeah, essentially. And so the movie goes into that. It was directed by a Swedish Iranian bloke. And he talked about what the movie's about, right? Because he said this isn't a pro-Trump movie by any stretch. He said it's not an anti-Trump movie either. It's really just about showing how we got the Donald Trump that we have today.
The reality.
In that... And I've often talked about this, you know, in recent times about how, like, there's a lot of people who I might not agree with on a lot of things. Like, we could come from different backgrounds and they might be religious or something, and I might have issues with some of the things they might believe or do or something. But there's a point where I can get to where none of that really matters and that I can understand why someone is the way they are. And that likewise, they'll probably understand why I'm the way I am. Do you know what I mean? So rather than going, like, because I can disagree with someone point by point basis if we go through what we actually believe in. I can go, yeah, I disagree. I agree with that. I don't like that. All that sort of stuff. But I'd rather just get to a point of understanding instead as a starting point. As a starting point. Oh, I understand. You know, in the case of Donald Trump, your dad was probably not the greatest dude in the whole world to be around, you know, like, your brothers had issues and, like, you know, you had probably the same sort of issues that everybody else sort of has growing up and whatever else. So there's this point of understanding that I can get to, and something like this movie might even assist me even further in understanding certain elements of his character, which I find quite unsavory. But in the trailer, even for this thing, it's a trailer. So take from this very little if you like, but it's Roy Cohn walking down the street with Donald Trump, and he's like, here's the 3 things you need to know, or the 5 things you need to know. Number 1, attack, attack, attack. So that means, like, if someone attacks you, you don't get defensive, you go all on attack, you know? He's the kind of guy who's like, we'll drown them in, like, paperwork and, like, we'll just make them never want to fuck with us ever again kind of thing. He's that kind of, like, scary boy. And he's teaching Trump how to do it all.
Ultra litigious.
Exactly. So it looks good. It looks like it's going to be an interesting movie. And it's just the timing of it. Obviously, Trump's campaign, I mentioned, tried to stop the film coming out because obviously they think it's a hit job, or they think it's like not good. They must think it's anti-Trump. If they thought it was pro-Trump or in the middle, they'd be like, fucking release that
And
shit. They
when's this
obviously
coming
don't
out?
like it. It's already out.
Oh, it's out. Okay. Okay. So
their attempts to stop it from coming out pre-election failed.
Yeah.
And the movie went, it would have debuted at Cannes or something like it. And I believe it is being shown in the States. So
while we're on that, who wins?
So we're going to go there now?
Yeah, I
okay,
think we do. Now,
we go there now.
People that have gone to the end of the episode have fucked up.
Oh, yeah, got to come back now.
They got to scour through the whole thing. We've hidden.
A friend of mine asked me on the weekend, who I think is going to win. And as we get closer to the date, I have no idea. It's really scary. Yeah. Don't know.
I've flip-flopped quite a lot. I think I've flip-flopped a number of times. I thought it was Trump 3+ months ago.
Yeah. I think Trump would have beaten Biden. So that's one.
Yes.
Tick.
And I think after the debate, I was, even maybe just before that, I think I was leaning towards Kamala. And then at some point, maybe 2 weeks ago, I went back to Trump. But now, for some reason, I feel like I don't know. I'm just having.
As we
feelings.
get closer, I start to get Kamala feelings. Sure,
yeah, I'm getting Kamala feelings.
But if you told me to lock in right now who I think is going to win, if you were like, "Hey, you got to answer right now," I'd just say Trump, because the teetotaling, the way it's been like, flying back and forth, if you like. Trump did an interview with Joe Rogan, and then
I haven't listened to that one yet.
Joe's.
Did you listen to it?
I've listened to the first, say, 7 or 8 minutes, just to get a flave.
Yeah.
But the episode's already got like 35 million views in a day. So it's like really popped off. Now
Trump's shortened to 155 in the betting market.
That's crazy.
242.
That's crazy.
Was the favorite last time.
That's crazy. So people who are in Kamala's sort of corner would say something to the effect of, well, Joe Rogan's got to offer her that spot as well, right? That platform.
I think he did.
I completely agree that that the offer should be there, and I would say it would be there. I mean, if you got Joe Rogan to pick a guy to be president, and he could pick anyone he wanted, he picks Bernie Sanders. You know what I mean? He doesn't pick Trump. He doesn't pick Kamala. He picks Bernie, or he picks RFK. Like, these are the two guys he would pick. So, and he's talked about in regards to how you get on Joe Rogan. It's a bit like Larry King. Right? You don't get Larry King. Larry King gets you, right? Like, you don't go, hey, Joe, can I come on your podcast? Joe Rogan goes, hey, do you want to come on the pod? So he wasn't going to ask him, right? So it would have been the other way around. Joe would have asked him, or whatever. The conversation would have started. I think there was money involved, all sorts of stuff. The problem now is, for me, is that episode did such crazy numbers in its first 24 hours, 35 million. A reason for Kamala not to do it is purely based off how many views it'll get. Because it's about optics, right? It's about how things look. And if the Trump episode gets 35 mil and she gets 10 mil, it doesn't look good. It just looks bad. It's not bad. And she probably would do a good job chatting to Joe, and I'm sure they'd have a great time. It's just not going to get the same numbers as Trump's interview. So it would just look, that's not how democracy works on views, but that's what it would look like metric. Optically for the campaign.
It's comparing apples with apples, and it's a metric you can look at and go, he got more views than her. He is therefore more popular than her, which is weird because.
But there are people who are left leaning or full left who would watch everything that Trump says, purely from a perspective of, I need to know what this idiot's saying, right? And they wouldn't watch necessarily everything that Kamala does, because their vote's locked away. They're like, no, I'm voting for Harris, and I'm going to vote, and I don't like Trump, but I want to see what he's saying. So there's some weird shit going on there. I haven't finished the episode, so I don't really know if he did well or whether or not that's even a thing. But it's a 3-hour long pod. So they were sitting there for a while. I think when he
3-hour ones, though, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's Joe though. Donald doesn't though. Donald will spend an hour somewhere and get the shit out of there. So
I listened to the RFK one at least 3 times. I loved it. I found it fascinating.
Well, he's been on a few times, right? He would have been on a few times.
I think he's only been on once, unless he's been on again since I've listened to the last one.
Yeah. I'm a big Curb Your Enthusiasm fan. So when I found out he was married to Cheryl.
Yes.
I was just like, this guy's all right. because she's lovely.
She's great. She's great.
Did you hear that he had to ask Larry if he could like ask her out? Because she was working on Curb at the time.
Oh, really?
And so it's his on-screen wife. So
Yeah.
RFK spoke to Larry and said, "Hey, is it cool if I ask your on-screen wife out?" And Larry said, "No, it's not cool. It's not cool at all." He gave him a hard time for it.
Right.
So it's amazing that it actually worked out.
I just guessed they'd been together forever. I assumed that they were together before.
Well, Curb's been running forever as well, dude. Curb's been running for like 25 years.
RFK's not a young guy. I just assumed it was a long term. They got married when they were 30 and he was like 50 plus or whatever.
He's pretty old for a Kennedy.
Yeah. Yeah, so apparently, two things. The demographic of Joe Rogan is extremely male. So that one reason why Kamala might not go so well.
True. True.
But apparently...
It would get Joe's women numbers up for 1 week.
Yeah, it would help Joe.
So it would help Joe out, yeah.
Harris spokesperson Ian Sam said the campaign talked with Rogan and his team about the podcast. Unfortunately, it's not going to work out right now because of the scheduling of this period and the campaign.
Scheduling.
That's what they say.
It's a pretty big platform to pass up. Pass up the opportunity to talk about your ideas and stuff to someone who is open-minded, I guess. He's at the very least open-minded.
My guess is, without actually...
He probably agrees with like 90%.
Much, I would guess that Trump is a bit more... I don't want to say capable of talking shit and off the cuff. And Kamala's talking points are probably a bit more refined. And
you know what? There's a certain part of that that's not her fault. There's a certain part of it that Donald Trump spouts off a lot of crazy shit
that's just his character.
All the time.
Yeah.
So he's not held to the same account as someone who is very clean cut and has to like speak in pointed terms and speak on policy and stuff. He can just like ramble essentially, and it's not out of character. Whereas if she started rambling, people would be like, "Bro, she's rambling. This is not her thing." So I think it's risky to go for the interview. I think it's risky to not go for the interview.
It's a shame to pass up, but I'm not surprised.
No, but it's risky to go to the interview because it might be bad or it might not get the numbers or like whatever the situation is. They could mark it as a failure.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, she could suicide off that performance.
Yeah, but same as Trump as well. He could have fucked up majorly in the Rogan interview as well. Those 35 million people might be like watching it to go, "Oh, he did fuck up." And now
I was so pumped when I heard he was going on Joe Rogan. I was like, "This is perfect. I want to hear him talk for 3 hours, uncut, on different issues. I want to hear him explain the Haitian immigrant."
I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about UFOs.
Yes,
like, I wanted to talk about UFOs, but I know that he's an ex-serving president now, so they've probably got a scope on him at all times, and just have to say the word. And Bob's your father's brother. But no, I don't. I would like to hear him talk about aliens. I remember there was a softball interview that he got with his son. Like his son was interviewing him. It's like, well, this is weird to be interviewing my dad kind of thing. And he gave this whole like, if there's one thing I want to ask you, this is post-presidency, is what can you tell us about aliens? Like, can you tell me about aliens? And he said, well, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. The way people talk about UFO stuff before and after office is hilarious. Like Obama was the same. You ask him about it and he's like, well, I can't really talk about it. It's like, I know that's what you have to say. I know that's the line. But the way you would talk about it beforehand would be much more offhandish. And then you'd be like, well, can't say.
Neither confirm nor deny. That kind of attitude.
Yeah. So it'd be really funny if disclosure came at the hands of Donald Trump. Like if he's the guy who blows the lid on UFOs and shit. That'd be hilarious. If we had to wait 60, 70 years for Donald Trump to rise to power in order to get some UFO truth out there, or it's a big misinformation campaign.
He should run on that disclosure, alien disclosure.
Can you? I mean, you're talking about national security stuff here. You're talking about bipartisan stuff. You're not talking about politics anymore. You're talking about like the inner workings of a crazy ass government.
Yeah, and
a military-industrial complex
within the confines of the law.
Sure.
Like anything that's needs to be classified remains classified. But maybe he can have a mandate when he goes to office, saying people voted me in on this. This is one of the things I promised. This is one of the things people want from me.
True. It'd be interesting. But the JFK files just keep getting pushed back every 5 years or so. They just keep pushing it back further and further. I'm like, who's still alive? Who the fuck is still alive that we're protecting? Who is it?
Yeah. The whole regime, the whole system.
Oh, it's hilarious.
The idea of being lied to. That the government would be capable of orchestrating something like this.
Yeah. It's really funny because we don't have a lot to draw on here in Australia to be distrusting of our government. I mean, there's stuff that they've done that is highly questionable. But they don't have this litany of things in their past, in our past, where it would feed that distrust, like JFK, every conspiracy theory, every one that was true. The MK Ultra stuff is a pretty good example, although not widely known, is pretty nefarious. So I think that the distrust in America, and therefore the world, because we sort of take our cues from them because we watch too much TV, would be a very distrustful, an underlying sense of distrust with how things are running and how things are run. They haven't helped themselves out, is basically what I'm saying, over the years to build that trust. Then you got Snowden coming out and going, even if your phone's off, they still know where you are, and all this sort of stuff. Like, it's gnarly shit.
I like Snowden as well. Have you listened to him on
it's one of the most watched episodes as well. That's kind of why it came to the forefront of my mind. It's another one of those very well performing ones where I guess people got informed on something they had very little to no idea about, or sort of inherently knew that there was sort of mass spying going on, but weren't aware of the extent until he sort of became a whistleblower.
So where's he living? Somewhere in Russia, apparently.
I think he was initially. I don't know.
What's happening with
he was
Assange?
live in America when he was doing when he did Rogan. He was there in the studio, so he would have been in Texas.
Okay.
So he's not stuck, somewhere.
I've forgotten what's happened to Julian Assange.
Isn't he in Australia?
Is he?
Isn't he back?
Extradited. I thought they were trying to extradite him to the.
They were for like
US.
20 years, but that was
I
all
US
done and
were
dusted.
Get their way.
No, they didn't. Let's find out. In June 2024, Assange arranged to a plea deal with US prosecutors. He pleaded guilty to an Espionage Act charge of conspiring to obtain and disclose classified US national defense documents in return for a sentence of time served, which is basically the time he spent in Hindmarsh, which is in the UK. Assange flew to Australia, arriving on June 22nd. So he's home. He's back.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Good for him.
Yeah.
I've just realised what ChatGPT.
Well, you'd be completely fucked. He'd be completely fucked. He was in a room for 15 years or some shit. Then he moved to another room. It's so fucked. That would have taken years off his life, if not more.
But the awards, look at the awards he's got. The
awards?
Economist, New Media Awards. He's got the Amnesty International.
You can have all the awards you want,
UK,
but if you're dead
New
tomorrow,
Media
it doesn't really
Award.
matter.
Time Person of the Year, Reader's Choice in 2010.
Hey, if it was you, would you rather the awards with the prison time or just no awards? You got to pick
awards.
one.
No awards. This one's pretty good. 2010, Rockstar of the Year by the Italian edition of Rolling Stone.
Oh, God. Okay.
He won the 2011 gold medal.
There were some actual rock stars who were pretty pissed off with that year's selection. Some actual rock stars on the up. Just need to get on the cover of Italian Rolling Stone, and we are on, fellas. Who have they named? Julian Assange.
He won the Sydney Peace Foundation gold medal in 2011. The 2012 Big Brother Award, Italy.
Oh, that's a good one.
2012 Hero of Privacy. Human Rights Award, Yoko Ono Lennon Courage Award for the Arts. There's a lot of awards going around, isn't there?
Too many. Sort of detracts, doesn't it? You know, how many Oscars has he got? None, probably.
He won the silver medal. Well, that's unfortunate. In New York festivals, world's best TV and film silver. Yeah.
It's a bit of a black mark on his record. He's going to be pretty upset with that silver. You almost won. Of all the losers, he was in first of that group.
Oh, you like this? 2019, the Cattelan Dignity Prize.
Oh, the Cattelan Dignity Prize. Is that the Cattelan? Banana on the wall Cattelan?
No, it's different spelling. I assume it's Cattelan as... I was thinking Catalonia, actually. Okay, let's find out what Cattelan is. So what I've realised is I've looked up WikiLeaks before trying to understand broadly what's going on, and it's just so much information. But ChatGPT, I'm just going to ask it for a very short summary, just a couple of lines.
Of what?
WikiLeaks.
What about it?
I just wanted to explain it to me in a very short, digested format. Well,
they're journalists who try to get leaked documents. Oh, we know what the major one was. That's what got Julian in all the trouble.
What was that?
Well, it was a bunch of documents from Afghanistan, I think, that came with video. And there's a famous video of a chopper Apache, basically, just circling a van, and they light it up, and it was like just people with a video camera, and they mistook the video camera for like an RPG or something. So a whole bunch of people got lit up, and it's more the language that was used during it. Like there was nothing like
casual.
There was nothing like clinical about it. It was all very much like,
gamer chat.
Pretty much.
Let's waste these fucking.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, here's WikiLeaks has made several high-profile disclosures, including probably what you were talking about, collateral murder, 2010.
Yeah, that's the one.
Released a classified US military video showing a 2007 airstrike in Baghdad that killed several people, including 2 Reuters journalists, sparking debates over military transparency and rules of engagement. US diplomatic cables, Cablegate 2010. Over 250,000 classified US State Department cables exposing US diplomatic communications and revealing behind-the-scenes political dealings and tensions between nations. There's no specifics there, though. I want the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
Guantanamo files. Documents on detainees held at Guantanamo Bay, including assessments, risk levels, and details of interrogation techniques, raising ethical questions about detention practices. That would be grim.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're not really the fun stuff that they leak, yeah. Oh, what do you know? Wrigley's are working on a new chewing gum flavor. This is straight off the hot presses from WikiLeaks, like the fun type of WikiLeaks. Yeah, so they did do that, and you got in a bit of trouble for that. That's your whole Chelsea Manning stuff as well, because she was the one that leaked the documents to Assange. She spent time in prison, out and about now doing like speaking tours and shit, I'm sure. So yeah, interesting. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on there?
Last thing, emails from the Democratic National Committee exposing alleged bias against Bernie Sanders in favor of Hillary Clinton
in the 2016,
leading to resignations within the DNC and influencing the US election narrative.
Yeah.
Well, I know
totally on board with all that. Yep.
Julian's gone through some tough times, but 2024, this year, he was made an honorary citizen of Rome. So I mean,
what's with all the Italians getting up in his face, like loving him about privacy and all the rest? I had a fun ChatGPT exercise that I was working on the other day. I think I've still got the results here. I asked ChatGPT to come up with a step-by-step process on how to fake a moon landing.
Oh.
Just to see if the process makes any sense.
Yeah.
And it did a pretty good job, but it did go into sort of some CGI elements and stuff. So I said, do it again, but pretend we're in the 1960s. All right?
Yeah.
And it came up with a different stuff. So I'll give you some of these dot points. They're quite fun.
Okay.
It says simulating a moon landing in the 1960s would have required a mix of practical effects, optical illusions, and clever techniques, as digital effects were not yet available. Here's how a 1960s production team might have approached it. This is going into how to make the footage, not how to systematically cover it up for decades. So I'll see how far we can get with this. So the first thing it tells them to do is storyboard and scene planning. So script, meticulous storyboards would be essential to lay out each shot and its sequence. Angle selection. Choose camera angles that mimic the limited perspective of space cameras, which were mostly wide and stationary. So very clever there. A bit of, you're not setting up a filmographer, are you? Well, you probably are in this case. Building the moon surface on a soundstage. So you get a soundstage set up, construct a large set to mimic the moon surface, layering rock, dust, sand, and gravel, painted in greys. So you need some dust. It sounds pretty easy so far.
On that, I think that the moon's surface is either a bit browner than we think, or the original photos were quite brown and it's actually grey, or they were quite grey and the moon's actually
black and
brown.
White. But it's black and white photography as well, right? On the moon.
Yeah, I guess it is. Is it? But there would be some color photography, maybe on some of the later moon missions. I don't know.
In the videos, in the movies of the moon landings, it's black and white, like the videos.
Yeah. Okay.
There are color photographs from the moon, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Careful lighting. With only practical lights, a strong spotlight could imitate the sun's harsh lighting, casting deep, stark shadows. Blah, blah, blah. Designing and building realistic astronaut gear. Authentic spacesuits, custom helmets, simulating low gravity. Here we go. Here's how you simulate low gravity. Wire and pulley systems. Use wires, pulleys, and rigging to create the sensation of slow motion walking and reduced gravity. Or you could slow motion capture. So digital slow motion wasn't an option. The production could shoot at a slightly higher frame rate and play it back slower to create a floating effect, which people have done with the moonwalk footage. They've just sped it up by 25% and it looks like regular running. So
really?
Yeah. So that's fun. That's a fun one to chuck in there.
Yeah.
Optical effects for dust and shadows, post-production techniques, treatments to give it a lunar look. They could adjust exposure contrast and add intentional film grain. And then they do sound design. Okay, so I'm going to say, and what would you need to do to keep this a secret for decades? That's the next step.
I'm just having a look at some moon footage, sped up double speed.
Yep. Here we go. It's actually done it. I actually thought that ChatGPT wouldn't do this because it sounds nefarious, what I've asked it to do. Yeah. But it's going for it. I said, and what would you do to keep this secret for decades? It says, keeping a simulated moon landing secret for decades would require an extraordinary level of control over information, people, and materials. Here's a hypothetical breakdown of how one might maintain such a cover-up from the 1960s onwards. Number 1, limit the inner circle. Great. Small, trusted team. Only a few select people would be involved in the full scope of the project. So the full scope, only a few people. Those individuals would ideally be trusted government or intelligence personnel with proven loyalty. It's really done a good job here. Compartmentalization. Brilliant.
Or you want some dirt on them.
Or you want dirt on them. Yeah. It doesn't mention that, but that is a good point. Each person or department would only be given the information necessary to do their specific job. Set designers wouldn't need to know it was for a moon landing, only that they were building a unique environment. Right? Brilliant. So we've got some really interesting stuff, right? Secure communications channels, makes sense. Manage witnesses and participants, non-disclosure agreements, monitor participants. Intelligence agencies could use surveillance.
Agreement.
Nah, neither would I.
I wouldn't want anything in writing being like, you can't talk. Yeah.
For participants at government levels, national security agreements might require silence. So you could just chuck it in with national security, which we could. Misinformation and controlled leaks. Ooh, interesting. Preemptive leaks. Feed the public with harmless or misleading leaks or theories that dilute the truth. This could encourage skepticism without providing genuine evidence. So they're saying, feed the machine.
That this happens. One, it has to happen. There'll be some things there'll be some things out there, whether they're big, large scale or small scale cover-ups, and they'll definitely be releasing incorrect information. It'd be
It says, It says here, occasionally introduce misinformation to discredit any whistleblowers, casting doubts on their reliability or mental stability. So it's giving you the playbook on how to ruin someone's career. Strict control over physical artifacts, secure storage of the moon rocks and gear, all that sort of stuff. Continue the cover-up in subsequent decades. Regular maintenance of information, monitoring potential whistleblowers. Emphasize national pride and the risks of disclosure. The event would be portrayed as a matter of national pride and security. Participants could be reminded of the potential harm to the country's image or global standings if the truth were to emerge. This is the summary. This level of secrecy would require strict organization, a high degree of loyalty, and an ongoing management to avoid exposure. And in a world with advanced technology and interconnected media, keeping it secret long-term would be challenging to say the least. So they've sort of said, if it's possible, it's incredibly difficult. That's where it's got to on that, which I think I agree with. Yeah,
totally. I love thinking about the moon landing being fake, but I have a lot of difficulty in actually believing that it could be fake as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
of course.
I entertain it so highly, and I can't fully.
The only reason that we're entertaining it these days is because it seems to be quite a difficult place to get to and fro. It just seems to be pretty hard.
Exactly, and the longer that has been galvanizing my
skepticism.
Yes, in the last few years, actually looking into it and going, hey, now we're actually trying to do it, and we actually are really struggling to do it, and we're going to do it in different ways than we did it before, which makes me start really freaking out about it.
You know what's funny is that the fact that we're going back should have been a point to quash skepticism. Because one of the big points that the skeptics have is, if we can do it, why haven't we gone back since the 70s? Like, why did we just stop going? Yeah? They're confused. Why did we stop going? So them restarting the program should have quashed all those rumors of like, oh no, we're going again. So you can forget about that argument because we're going again. But the problem is that they're actually having a lot of difficulty doing it. So now you're like, this was meant to help. It's actually hurt. It's made people more skeptical.
Yes.
When really it was meant to not do that. But yeah.
One thing, have you watched that guy? He's a YouTuber and his channel's called Smarter Every Day.
Yeah, you told me about him before. Isn't he the one who went down to SpaceX? He was doing the maths with NASA, and it was like, dude, you need to put shitloads of fuel tanks into orbit to just get this thing going. Do you guys know how much you need? They didn't know.
And they didn't know. And then they've now released, apparently, he was saying they need X amount of launches to put fuel in space for it. And that actually blew my mind, because he's not just like, the scientific method isn't just close to his heart. He is the scientific method. He lives it. And like to see him analyze the data.
You would have thought the NASA guys know what they're doing, right?
You'd think so.
Yeah, you would think, like, if he's that good, why have they got people working for them?
Maybe they hadn't got to that point of the...
Get to that point? What, the getting there bit?
The whole
what are they doing?
Yeah, actually.
What are they working on that could be more important than the stage of getting to the moon? Anyway.
We're not. My new view is, and I think I've said this before, but I don't think we're going to have boots on the moon before 2030.
But the goal is 2026 or something.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen. I think they were just saying that. It's not going to happen.
You don't think there could be developments?
I think it's just going to take longer and longer
to get the suits done,
and to deal with the Van Allen radiation.
Nah, we've done it before, right?
I think that some of the data that came back was actually pretty positive about it, actually, in terms of
they're a bit doomsday about the Van Allen belt. It's just harmless, is it?
Well, at least the spacecraft protects the astronauts enough that it's
this one and the previous one, because Neil and Buzz and all the other boys have already been up on the thing.
They've already been 90. There. They were fine. Right. Those 12 white Americans men that went to the moon, they're all fine.
Yeah. They probably replaced them with like actors at some point.
How many people that went to the moon are still alive? Hey, so...
Well, Buzz is still alive, right?
I think so. Okay, so as of 2024, only 4 of the 12 astronauts who walked on the moon are still alive. Buzz, 1969. David Scott on Apollo 15. Never. Charlie Duke.
Never
it's
heard
amazing
of him.
how I've never heard. There's like 12 guys.
Yeah, it's a bit by someone. Is it Louis C.K.? Someone like that, and he's like, "Man, I had to walk. What do I have to do to for people to know me?" Oh, it's Norm Macdonald. He's like, "What do I have to do for people to know me? I walked on the moon. Like nobody even knows who I am."
Poor mate Harrison Schmitt on Apollo 17 walked on the moon in December 1972.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Still alive as well. You can just walking around being like, "Yeah, I've been to the moon." We should get him on the podcast.
Do you reckon that it would color the sort of rest of your life in this sort of very bland thing? Like nothing will really compare to that day you walked on the moon. You know, it's a big thing to do.
It is a big thing. Okay, see, there's a MSNBC or NBC News.
How come Buzz has just been kicking around in the media world the whole time and Neil never said a word to anybody, but Buzz has been kicking around on talking tours, done books and shit?
Apparently, I think of his personality. They say Neil's personality was like very quiet. So Harrison Schmitt on Walking on the Moon, an infinite giant trampoline. I'm going to listen to that later. And
yeah, well, we need more than one. Like, what if I say moon landings, right? You think of Neil Armstrong, Buzz Lightyear. You know, Buzz Lightyear, the main man.
Yeah.
And you think of boots on the moon. You think of photographs. You think of the eagle has landed.
Mm-hmm.
It's one small step for man. You know what? I actually the transcript of that line. What do you think the line is?
I think this is one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I think he says it's one small step for a man.
Oh.
Meaning him.
Yep.
One giant leap for mankind. So there's an that we never knew about. One small step for a man. One giant leap for mankind. And like when you're young, like you know those words. You weren't alive when it happened, but you know the words. Ooh. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm going to look into a bit of Harry because I want to hear a few people talk about the moon. Yes, this guy has actually done a lot of speaking gigs. They probably realized after the Apollo 11 and how poorly the astronauts did it at communicating their experiences afterwards.
Was that the Tom Hanks one?
Well, of course, Tom Hanks.
No, I think that was 13.
And others. That was 13. That was the one that went bad. Sorry, I thought you were joking about. But no, Apollo 11 was the actual moon landing, the first moon landing. And they come back in and it's like a hostage situation when they're addressing the media. And they're very unconvincing. I reckon for the subsequent landings, they had to give the astronauts some extra training. These actors.
Bit of PR training.
Mate, you're not just an astronaut. You need to come back and actually sell this shit to the public.
You're John Lennon. You're a rock star. Like you'll be on the cover of Rolling Stone Italy with this kind of shit.
You're Julian Assange. You're massive.
Yeah, huge.
Hey, so you don't follow League of Legends, but I have to give you an update. No one cares but me. Faker has busted a nut all over Worlds 2024. He's in the grand final.
Oh, already?
Yeah. So it's
when is it?
night.
Saturday night,
10 p.m.
Wow.
So
that's cool.
So you have to watch at least the opening ceremony.
Oh, I will be.
Please.
I'll probably have it on. Yeah.
Well, I'll be a chance of
Okay. Yeah.
Chance of coming by if you'll have me. But
cool.
I can't watch the whole thing though because I go to bed at it's too late.
It's a special occasion.
5 games. It's gonna be 2:30 in the morning.
But it's a special occasion.
And, blood alcohol level of
just smash a coffee.
Yeah, it is a special occasion.
You don't do it all the time.
No, I don't know if I can. I'll try. So Faker, remember, okay, so there was a semi-final between SKT and Gen G. And remember about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was telling you Gen G, they were the number 1 seed in Korea, had the best season all time. They had the longest winning streak of games. They had the longest winning streak of series. They had the best record. They had an undefeated split, which has never happened. And they won both Korean titles. And I think they may have won MSI as well. So basically won everything they could. Faker / SKT, sort of synonymous with each other, but they almost didn't qualify for Worlds. They went to a last game of a best of 5.
And we've already done all the promo material and Faker's all over it. So can we please make sure he makes it? Please.
And they were down in that game 5. I'm almost calling bullshit on the League of Legends game itself. I reckon that they're in on it, and they might fudge the numbers and be like, let's give Faker a little bit of extra damage because he needs it.
Wowzers. Or
let's let this arrow clip this, because
fucking hell.
He has run the gauntlet. So he went from they were quite down in that game 5. I thought I was watching it thinking, man, they're not going to qualify. Like, they're gone. They're the reigning champions, reigning defending.
And
so
changes.
They qualify, and now they're into the finals. They're versing the number 1 seed from China. Billy Gaming or something like that. They go by BLG. Cool. So
wow.
I'm pumped.
And so that's this weekend.
Pumped. Yeah, that happened last night.
It's the O2, right? Which we found out was a really small arena.
Yeah, only 20,000.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? That's really weird.
So I'm
just
like,
fill a soccer stadium already.
I'm fully into the meta. I know who's getting banned. If someone gets through the bans, I know who's big.
I ask this every year, but we got any chance to Faker cranking out the Vel'Koz this year?
Hey, he saves that for
big
elimination games. He's pulled out Vel'Koz occasionally in very obscure. It's a huge damage champion, highly immobile. So you have to be absolutely on point with your positioning. And Faker can do it. I've never seen anyone else pull it out. He's pulled it out twice in critical games before. It's a pocket pick for him.
Wow.
So my big call is, I'm going to say, if it goes to game 5, I would not rule out the possibility if they need a bit of AP.
Wow. Did you know that I'm I'm in the top 50 most experienced Vel'Koz players in OCE?
I believe that for sure.
Most experienced.
But do you only play ARAMs now?
I do, so I don't even get to focus it anymore.
That's what's killing you. Yeah.
I know that, but it's still a big number.
Yeah.
I would have still had 250,000 XP just from my solo rank days and from my rank days, but then it's just been ARAMs ever since. So I've made about maybe 800,000 or 700,000 XP just in ARAMs over the last 10 years.
So if any of your friends get Vel'Koz, do you just go get here?
Nah, I mean, they'll offer it because they know that, it's my jam. But I'd often find other champs that I'd rather play than Vel'Koz sometimes because, it's all about team comp. And when you're an experienced member of the group, it is your job to sometimes, don't not take your pick in lieu of having a good team pick. You might need a tank. I'm more than happy to play tank these days because I didn't realize that tank was fun until I started playing tanks.
I love tank.
Yeah, it's great fun.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because you don't. Also, the good thing about playing a tank when you're me is you don't need as much skill. You kind
because you got more health.
Yourself. Yeah, you're expected to take damage. You don't need to hit skill shots. You've got point and click CC. You're like a Nautilus or something. You're just like, I'll just fucking ult him, click him.
There's a guy, I'm going to call him out right here. So he's got a Twitch account linked to this, so feel free to go send your love to this guy. Daddy Picks TTV, he's ranked 4th in OCE for Vel'Koz, 3.1 million XP. It's roughly 3 times what I've got. And he's ranked. He's got a ranking. Iron 4.
Iron 4? And he's got 3 million Vel'Koz experience points, whatever you call them.
Yeah, I might have to go check this guy out.
That's a grim life.
The guy in the top 10, he's Diamond 4, and he's got a lot of Vel'Koz points, but I wouldn't even be able to tell if like it's his main or not. It is his
number
main.
one?
Number 1 is a guy named Greased Tentacle, which is a Vel'Koz reference because like that's he's a big tentacle boy.
Do you reckon he likes tentacle porn as well? He must. Like if
he does. Oh no,
so
he does only play tentacle champions. He plays Alawi, who's got tentacles, and Vel'Koz, who has tentacles. So he's a tentacle guy. That's fucking weird. That's a weird little thing to have in your gaming experience. And he plays Nasus. So he plays Nasus, Alawi, and Vel'Koz, and they're all tentacle. Well, apart from Nasus, they're all.
Is it Nasus a dog or? What is
Nasus? He's a big Egyptian god. He's an Anubis-looking fellow.
Susan.
Yep, Suzanne. So that's League, right? This Saturday. Wow, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So the opening ceremony is going.
I love the way this worked out. By the way, we all started playing League around the same time. I play the casual game modes a lot. I'm a hardcore casual. You are a casual. You don't really play much anymore, but you do watch.
Yeah.
And I don't watch. And then there's our other mate who we lived with, our other housemate. He's casual hardcore, which means he barely plays, but he only plays ranked.
And
so it's super weird.
Uninstalled the game.
He has. But it's weird how we all ended up in different camps on League. You're still following League Worlds more than anyone else I know, and famously don't play the game anymore. So it's interesting.
It's weird. Yeah.
There's so many champs that have come out since you stopped playing. You should come on. You should come on one night and have a jam with us.
Yeah, I should.
You should.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will.
Yeah.
I wanted to Google something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, good.
It's gone.
It'll come back.
So Faker, I'm just obsessed with Faker because he just keeps doing it, and he's kind of like my contemporary in a way. He's only 10 years younger than me.
That makes him your contemporary.
Well, compared to the 18-year-olds, he's the youngest guy at the time. At the time, he was the youngest guy to have ever won Worlds, and he's also the oldest guy to have ever won Worlds.
It's a great thing, isn't it?
It's amazing, and all the commentators.
He's shifting what it means to be an old athlete. Yeah, but he's redefining what it means to be an old athlete in this sport.
Yeah, because he's the LeBron.
People talk about, oh man, how is LeBron still playing?
No idea. He's playing. So he has played with his son now.
He has. They had a bit of a jam together.
Well, Bronny doesn't jam.
No,
and they're both running around out there. But he's. I don't.
Have they had their moment yet? Have they done a pass like have they done a dad like son play yet? Where
he's tried to feed him an assist, and Bronny's missed him. I don't know if Bronny's scored yet in the NBA. The last 2 games I saw, he's played.
Is it even the season yet? Has the season started?
Yeah, it has.
I thought it was like.
I'm pretty sure.
Is it preseason or is it on?
I think it's on.
And he's getting
only
starts?
Very recently.
Like Bronny's getting on the court.
He's getting on the court, but he'll play 2-3 minutes.
So how is it going down in your idea? In your eyes?
He's not going to be.
How is the Bronny James experiment going? Are we looking at a future dynasty where the dad's going to take over the coaching and he gets to sort of like be there his whole career? Or do we have no career? What are we dealing with here?
Oh, look, I reckon they're going to give him 2 years. Basically, as long as LeBron's playing, he'll be playing. And as soon as LeBron's gone, I think he's gone.
It's so funny. I'm watching a highlight right now of him like passing it to him on the 3 line and him just missing and everyone going like, oh, in the crowd. It's like nothing happened. It's great.
Okay, he didn't play in the last game against Sacramento, probably because it was close. They'll only bring him on in dog shit time.
So what does that mean?
The junk time, the last 30 seconds of a game when the results secured.
Don't matter.
Yeah. So let's see. Did he play against Phoenix? No. It's fascinating. I think it's worthwhile. And who knows, because he's got magic blood in him.
Yeah. I'm fine with it.
If LeBron's the chosen one, which he has tattooed on himself,
yeah,
then he's the chosen one's son.
That's I think I heard Donald Trump talk about this. He said it's very rare and it's very hard for a son to do better than their father. Do you realize like how fucking like crazy that is coming from a guy who, he must have his dad on a very high pedestal first of all, right? Thinking like to match his success is not possible, sort of thing. And he's actually pushing that onto his children as well, by extension. He's saying like it's going to be very difficult to outdo me. I'm the fucking president of the United States.
How many have there been? Like 40 something.
45, yeah.
45. Yeah.
So
through
look,
history, through the United States.
So he's kind of right.
There's only been 45 guys.
I'm going to apply this to Bronny as well in the same way, in that it would be fucking impossible for him to have like a 14, 15 year career, or exceed his old man. It's the bar's so fucking high.
It's impossible for anyone. Yeah. Well, someone that's done it, Gary Ablett Jr. We don't really acknowledge...
You rate Gary Ablett Jr. over Senior?
Well...
You think he's a better player?
Well, Gary Ablett Sr. never won a premiership.
Right.
Gary never won a Brownlow.
It's tough, though. He's a forward.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you're going statistically, Gary Ablett had more games...
so you're saying he's more decorated?
Far more decorated, and he won a Brownlow at 2 different clubs. One of the clubs was dog shit. He's done some stuff, and then he's done some things. I would say he's arguably, better, in my opinion. But I never watched Senior, so. What a father-son duo, though! Amazing.
Yeah. This guy on a forum, we're just going to quote him. The question was who is the best player, not who played the best or most successful team. Premierships are irrelevant for this discussion. If they were, then Brent Renouf was a better player than Jim Steins. So he's trying to say there that premierships, all that stuff doesn't really matter. It's all about, I don't know, there's got to be statistics somewhere in there. But are they the best the game's ever had then? Like, do you just, I don't know. How does that work?
I guess they're the best father-son duo. I don't... Yeah, because the Geelong team... so Gary Ablett Sr. played in 4 grand finals but didn't win any of them. I'm not saying that's on him, but he won 3 Coleman medals and had 7 All-Australians. Gary Ablett Jr. had 8 All-Australians, 2 Brownlow medals, 2 premierships, 5 times AFL Players Association MVP, which is a record. So I'm only focusing on accolades because that's the easiest way to digest someone's career.
Sure. This is a bit of a quote from the same thread. His father, meaning Senior, made his peers look stupid and has one of the most amazing stats of all time. He averaged more disposals and more goals away from home than at his home ground. Wow. This is a guy who for periods made Lockett and Dunstall look nowhere near him and played on and destroyed some of the game's greatest ever defenders. He did it from a wing, half forward flank as an undersized full forward. He was only 3 centimeters taller than Junior, regularly giving up 10 centimeters or close to it against his direct opponent. So sounds like he had a midfielder's body, but he was playing like half forward and the wing and ended up at full forward being one of the best, I guess.
Just because he was so dominant that you can play him anywhere, it seems.
Yeah. And it says that impact on the game. So I guess someone like Gary Ablett can really get your side going, both senior and junior.
Yeah.
But
the only I'm not.
It's iconically 90s thinking about senior.
Yes. Again, not having. I don't fucking care who's better. I don't really like when they say, when you just say, oh, he was so dangerous and he regularly played on some of the greatest of it. Like, those generalities. I'm like, yeah, he did. He did.
Sure.
You know, I'm not saying
they have to send their best player to you because you're the best player.
And he's had such a long career. Of course, he's played on greats of the game. Like everyone who's had a successful career has done that. So that's why I think I'm focusing a little bit on the stats. But that's not a valid. That's like the metric. Really. That's the easiest metric to compare. Again, when you're trying to compare apples with apples, that's the only thing. Leigh Matthews I want to talk about because I've never watched Leigh Matthews properly play, but he was named the AFL's greatest player of the 20th century. Our friend Leigh is named after Leigh Matthews.
There you go.
So he's got 4 premierships as a player, 4 as a coach. No Brownlow medals, but they say he's widely regarded as one of the greatest ever. And as I said, the AFL named him.
But I guess that just brings into the 4 something that we already know, which is the Brownlow is not the best player in the league. They're the most visible.
The most liked by the umpires.
They're just the most liked and visible. I think visibility is very important because if you hang around the midfield, you get to talk to the umpire more, ask him how his weekend was, ask him how his dog's going, that sort of stuff. And they go, man, he had a shithouse game tonight, but he was very nice and courteous. And he did ask me about my weekend. And when I asked him for the time, he gave it to me. So that was very nice. So I don't really give much cred to the Brownlow, to be honest.
I'm with you on that. And I think it's been an absolute piss take with the way Cripps won it this year. It's kind of underlined
the amount of votes.
Yeah.
The fact that someone can break the record and lose.
By 3. Yeah, someone can break the record and lose. And Paddy Cripps, who didn't come in as the favourite, the Bont won the player's choice of best player. And the Bont didn't even get anywhere. He lost by more votes than some people win the Brownlow with. He lost by 26
Did you hear
votes.
The wife slip up on the red carpet? Not physically.
Whose wife?
The AFL CEO, the guy who actually knows what's going on. His wife on the red carpet, because they got asked like, "Oh, so who do you think is going to win?" And she said like, "Oh, look, I think Patrick Cripps, but I think I heard recently that it's not going to happen," and like sort of let it slip, like.
But she's probably just guessing.
She's like, I've been told that it's probably not a thing, and he gets this look from her husband going like, "Hey, the betting markets are still open. Can you just ixnay on the Brownlow medalist winner?"
Someone has to know, don't they?
He would know.
He would know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100p on that, but
there's a reason that to not want to know before the event, but. That he would have access to the information.
But I actually want not just plausible deniability. I don't want to accidentally tell my wife and then she says it on the red carpet, like that kind of thing.
So you want to know
genuine surprise to be like, fuck, I don't know who it is. I'm so excited.
Absolutely, I think that's definitely the way to do it. I just think access to information probably happened, but it was funny. It was funny nonetheless to see the way she worded that and had to quickly sort of back out of it.
Couple of other, if we're just going on accolades. Dusty Martin, obviously someone that's
pretty decorated
his whole career. 3 premierships, 3 Norm Smith medals. That is clutch factor. 1 Brownlow for All Australians. And then the other one, which is pretty crazy, Robert Harvey, 2 Brownlows. 8 All Australians.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know.
383 games.
Too many. You're going to do a lot of cool stuff in a career if you play 380 odd games, right? You want to make some All Australians in that time. I mean, you're still playing into your later years, so obviously still good enough to run out there with the rest of them. So that means that you're in fighting shape. It's pretty good. Speaking of fighting shape, there was a UFC event on the weekend. Okay. Max Holloway fought Ilia Topuria for the, what are they fighting for? Probably the lightweight belt at this point. There was a welterweight fight, and there was the first time ever that what happened was a guy has thrown a spinning back fist, a right spinning back fist going this way. And then when he's sort of connected on the guy's head, and then he's thrown the other fist around the other way. So it's a double spinning back fist. From the back, bang, and knocked him out with it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the first time it's ever happened. The second one knocked him out. So it's never happened before. Pretty cool.
A right-left combination, but not what you'd be expecting.
It's a back-facing 2-punch combo.
Yeah,
Because
wow.
at no point are you facing your opponent.
Wow.
Bang, 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 bang. It's amazing. So that happened. Max Holloway got knocked out for, I think, the first time ever.
Because he can take a punch.
Well, he's been in a bunch of wars.
He eats punches for breakfast.
A guy who comes out every fight and says, no one can knock me out. I'm talking about your Justin Gaethjes. I'm talking about your Max Holloways. I'm talking about your Clay Guidas and your Diego Sanchez's, these unstoppable machines who just say, you can hit me. I can take it. I can take a punch. That's what I'm good at for. I take punches.
Korean zombie guy.
Korean zombie. It's a shit thing to rely on. Like if you're relying on the fact that you've been punched before and didn't get knocked out that time.
It's the Homer Simpson. It's the Homer Simpson approach.
But incremental damage. You know what I'm saying? Incremental damage, micro concussions, all that stuff. All I'm saying is that if you run on that ticket for long enough, you're going to get knocked out. If you keep going out there thinking, you can't knock me out, I'm unknockoutable, you're going to get knocked out.
There's a fact of life. Whatever doesn't kill you only makes you stronger.
Yeah, is that a fact?
It's a fact. It's undeniable. It's a good
cliche.
Indelibly inked into the fact.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, no, it's horse shit. Like you could go to war, right? Get your leg blown off by a landmine. It didn't kill you. Stronger? I mean, maybe emotionally, maybe mentally, maybe but not physically. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Except gangrene and like all of those other things, and like that does not help you at all.
No, I'm with you there. Simpsons predicted something actually. Speaking of Homer
again.
Simpson. Yeah, another thing. I don't think it's going down as an official recognized thing that the Simpsons predicted.
A recognized miracle.
But you tell me. I think it might be.
Go for it.
So bear with me here. So the Polaris Dawn astronauts became the first people to eat Doritos in space. They filmed a commercial up there. Mm-hmm. Doritos, these fucking assholes, have made a new flavor of chips. Zero Gravity Cool Ranch.
What, do they make it in zero grav?
No.
Oh, it's just called Zero Gravity
Just
cool
for marketing
ranch.
Purposes.
They went up to space to film this in. Okay, great.
And chips are on the no-fly list because of the crumbs they create.
Oh, of course. You could rip up a satellite system with just a couple of chips.
Or they get in the instruments. You see where I'm going with the Simpsons thing at the moment?
Yeah.
So Doritos made these crumb-proof Doritos, so they don't have seasoning on them, and like you don't have to lick your fingers after you eat them and stuff. It's like all the flavor is located on the chip.
Highly innovative from Doritos. That's highly innovative. I hate that.
And now there's photos of these people floating around in space eating chips, just like
Homer did. Yeah. But is that the Simpsons predicting it, or is it Doritos going, hey, I watched this episode of The Simpsons where Homer was eating chips in zero gravity.
What's the difference?
We should do that. What's the difference? Well, I don't think they're predicting the future. I just think that they are futurists. I just think they think of what's possible. I don't think they're trying actively to predict things. I think they're just giving it their best shot of what would happen.
They've gone to a certain point and they're making culture now.
Agreed. It's a very powerful position to be in. By the way, I talked out of school. I said that they were wrapping it up. They named the first episode of the new season The End or something, and they billed it as a series finale, but I don't think it was. I think it was just episode 1.
What was this?
So I don't know. Of The Simpsons. I told you it was wrapping up. I told you they were ending it, but I don't think they are. It's too much of a cash cow, even though it gets fuck all viewership.
They could just generate it through AI now. They won't need writers, artists, anyone to do anything. You could probably just put all the Simpsons episodes into the system and say, now I want one where this happens, and it'll just do it.
The future's grim. Because you're right, but it wouldn't be very good. It'd be like your Moon story last week. Just very formulaic. I still haven't read the whole thing, I'm sure. You did email it to me, right?
Yeah, I didn't read it. I was wondering how they got the Doritos into space, because they would have had to experience quite a few G getting out of the atmosphere. Like, I mean, I pick up a bag and they're all crumpled and
Are the astronauts under that sort of G-force as well? Or is there something that's protecting them from the G-forces inside?
No,
nothing.
Let's find out.
They're pulling Gs.
They're pulling Gs.
But they're pulling a lot of Gs when they're probably not copping as much atmosphere or gravity.
You know that point about a minute into the space flight, the launch, and they say that it's
max
going
Q.
through max Q?
Yeah. That's the most stress that's the most
stress, because that's when it's going the fastest and
doesn't
still
mean it's going the fastest.
No.
You'll go faster when you're in space, right? So
no, but also relative to the friction you're experiencing in the atmosphere. So like you're getting you're going. It's like there's two things at play: your speed and how much like force your like friction and other forces from the environment, the medium that you're traveling through.
Sure.
And it's going faster and faster. So it's going like, let's say, I don't know, like 1,000 kilometers an hour in relatively dense air. And so it's experiencing a dickload of force.
Yeah. But I guess max Q, though, isn't max speed. Max speed is something else.
Yes.
But when they make it past max Q, there's always a bit of a celebration because they know that they've actually like crested the hill, and everything after this is more or less less of a problem. You can still have problems.
Astronauts only experience 3 to 4 G, which is apparently uncomfortable but tolerable and manageable with special seating and training.
Okay.
That doesn't sound so bad, because I think you black out around 8 G. Like that's when they're pulling, when pilots are pulling mad, backflips and stuff.
Oh, yeah. As of November 2023, a total of 676 people have flown into space, and 19 of them have died. This sets the current statistical fatality rate at 2.8%.
What was it?
2.8% chance of dying going into space.
I wanted to go to space, and now I'm like not actually.
Well, 2.8% is better than 2.8%. Is not bad.
Oh, look, I mean, I'm not going to risk my life with a 2.8% chance of dying.
I mean, granted, if you were going to space, it's not like they're going to be like, all right, pop out and just get your wrench out and just start tightening this up for us. They're going to be taking you up there. You go and hang around for a bit and then you're coming back down. It's going to be like 10 times safer than anything else that NASA's up to, or China or Russia or whatever are doing in space. You'll be doing something very sanitized, safe. Low chance of failure.
Do you know how many people have walked on the moon and returned successfully? What percentages we're dealing with?
0?
100%.
Well, 100%. 100%.
Once you get to the moon, you're all right. You're like, man, this is walking the park. This is walking the park now.
Well, there's been 45 presidents of the United States of America. 10% of them have been killed while in office. So it's more dangerous to be president for 4 or 8 years than to go to space. Yeah, it's more dangerous to be the president.
4 times more dangerous. Wow.
Yeah. And if you're talking about assassination attempts, the number goes up to 34, 35, 38%. So much safer than that. Much safer.
That's interesting.
The only thing that's trying to assassinate you in space is everything. Everything around you is trying to kill you.
Is trying to kill you. Yeah. You're not supposed to be there. The environment is saying no.
What are you doing here? Yeah.
What is more dangerous than being the president of the United States?
Well, you'd have to look at jobs with a fatality rate of over 10%.
Journalists in conflict zones. Deep sea fishermen.
There you go.
Astronauts. We've already debunked that. This does know what it's talking about.
Okay, so the highest fatality rates of these things seems to be woodcutters at the very top. People who work in the forestry industry, 100.7 fatalities per 100,000 full-time employers. Fatality rate up 19% compared to 2017. Total fatal work injuries in 2022 was 54. Approximately 80% of fatal logging injuries involve contact with objects or equipment. That makes perfect sense. There you go. That's more dangerous.
Actually, I have a quote. I've got this book here called The Quotable Douchebag. And I know we're near the end of the show and I don't have my fact book near me, so I just thought I'd just whip out a quote.
Oh yeah, chuck a quote in.
I literally just flicked through it and I saw a picture of Donald Trump looking back at me. So here we go.
Okay.
All of the women on The Apprentice flirted with me, consciously or unconsciously. That's to be expected.
That's gross. That's such a creepy old man thing to say.
It's hilarious.
Everyone loves me. Everyone wants to flirt with me.
He's described as American mogul.
Ew. And there's a love heart done in flames behind it. Blech, blech, blech. See, that's something about the celebrity thing that I never really understood. It's the because people think that you get famous so that everyone wants to sleep with you. You know what I mean? Like that's the end game. It's like, oh no, I just want to get to a point where everyone wants to sleep with me. And so there's this inherent, well, everyone's flirting with me. Everyone wants to sleep with me. When really, they could be just people with their own thoughts and feelings, and they don't really like. I guarantee you could find some contestants of The Apprentice who would be able to say under oath, lie detector, all the rest, I wasn't trying to flirt with Donald Trump. Okay, but he's got it in his head because his ego is so important to him, that he's so loved and everyone loves him, and they were flirting relentlessly with me all the time. That's to be expected.
Oh, here's an R. Kelly one.
Oh, good.
Like, Osama bin Laden is the only one who knows exactly what I'm going through.
We'll see you next week. Fuck it, hell. Poor R. Kelly, man. Poor R. Kelly.
God.